Hello and welcome to my video. This is my prediction video for how the story's gonna go in Marvel Spider-Man 2, as you could probably see by the title. But be careful, because I will be showing the gameplay from the PlayStation Showcase early in the year. But that's all the gameplay I'll be showing. I won't be showing any of the Lizard fight if you want to see that, or anything else that's going to be coming out on this time, because there are a few copies that have been out for a while now. So, and how Insomniac has handled this, it's leaking everywhere. So be warned that there will be spoilers everywhere you go. That's why I've personally switched off all of my social media platforms so I don't get spoiled on it. But anyway, I digress. Let's go on to predictions. Let's start with the story. Now, for me, I think it's, from what we've been told, it's the same kind of length from Marvel Spider-Man 1, the first one. Yeah, it's going to be that same length, so 30 hours to 40 hours, kind of. So how it's going to go, I reckon the story's going to be set in 3 acts like it was with that one then. Act 1 being finding out who's behind the demons. Act 2 being stopping Martin Lee. And Act 3 being the Sinister Six. Oh my god, I had to actually think there, what the hell. Yeah, Act 3 being Sinister Six. So let's start with my prediction for the story. As I said, like, for the third time now, I'm an idiot. Leave me alone. Okay, so from the story perspective, Harry's going to come straight back into Peter's life, and Peter's somehow going to get straight away the Venom suit very, very early on. Like, he's going to get it at Act 1 and lose it by the end of Act 1. That's my prediction for it. Just because, you know, he has to lose it, and then he has to battle Venom, and then yeah. Anyway, that's my prediction for it. He's going to lose it in Act 1, and then after he loses it in Act 1, what's going to happen is Miles and Peter versus the symbiote. Well, Venom versus Venom in Act 2. That's just going to be all of Act 2, just Miles and Peter versus Venom. Then in Act 3, what I think is going to happen is we're going to get Green Goblin. Because everything else that Insomniac hinted at the villains and other references that was going to be in either Miles Morales or this game or Marvel Spider-Man 2 has already come to pass. So the only thing left that I could see was Green Goblin. I generally think, like, we're gonna defeat Venom in Act 2, and then for the remainder of the act it's just going to be purely Green Goblin, and he's going to have an army with him, because in the comics and one or two and I think one TV show of it, an animated TV show, the Goblin had his own Goblin army. So I reckon Norman or Harry, I don't think it's going to be, I generally do think Green Goblin's going to be Norman. And yeah, so yeah, that's how I think it's going to go, because that's what they did with Doc Ock. They kept it a secret right until the end who that person was who Peter saw at Rikers when, you know, looking over, I know you, that scene, and they hit it well until you actually played the game. Then you saw it was, you know, Doc Ock fully evil. So I reckon that's what they're going to do with Green Goblin. He's just going to appear at the start of the last arc, and it's going to be awesome, because I really like, with the new combat moves you can do in the air, you can do a move where you dodge under someone. It's so awesome, so I can't wait. So I generally think there's going to be a lot of Green Goblin stuff to do, especially with the robots they've added in. Like, Norman can just have an army of drones instead of people. Like, instead of the Green Goblin army, like I mentioned, it could just be a robotic army. and that would be cool. But moving on, that's the story. The side missions for me, I think Peter and Miles will get their own, unique collectible things. Like Peter got his backpacks in Marvel Spider-Man 1, and Marvel got the time capsules in Miles Morales. Miles, yeah. And yeah, I think they're gonna get each something kind of like that again. And then, of course, as it's been revealed, they're gonna get their own unique side missions. But with these side missions as well, I think we're gonna get all the villains that's been in the previous games, Miles Morales and Marvel Spider-Man, to all the villains that got mentioned in those games, like the Chameleon, who is, I don't know if he's in the comics. I think the Chameleon is Kraven's brother, but I don't know if they're gonna go that way in this one. But we can find out. Yeah, Sandman, all those villains, what got mentioned in the previous games, I think they're all going to be in this game, as well as all the other villains. Electro, all of them will be in this one as well, for just one obvious reason, that since it's shorter, I really think they're going to put more effort into having a lot more crazier time with dealing with villains and stuff, because it is shorter, so they need to put as much bad guys and as much stuff going on as possible to make up for the lack of length in the game. Because seriously, the PS4 is the same length as the PS4 one. When I originally heard about Spider-Man 2 coming out soon, I was like, okay, that would be good. It would be like another 10 hours or 15 hours so longer. That would be good, but no, it's the same. It's round about the same length as the first one. So, okay. The next I'm going to talk about is the villains, man. I've already gave a brief mention of them. Like, I think every villain mentioned and in the previous games are going to be popping up in this one, and they're going to it's just going to be like how for the Batman Arkham series, mainly like where all the villains just came out at once and just made it impossible just made it so daunting for Batman to deal with all that. But I do seriously reckon they're going to do it, just because there's two Spider-Men. It'll put them right to the test. Not only will they have to deal with the overpowering might of Venom and the overpoweredness of the Lizard, which is constantly growing, they'll also have to deal with all these threats of villains that will appear. So I do think they're going to show up. And by the way, my guess for Venom, since from when you defeat Kingpin in Marvel Spider-Man 1 to where you do all those side missions for your community in Miles Morales, and then you find out it's the Kingpin behind it, I do think Kingpin's gonna escape the raft, and then he's gonna somehow get his hands on the Venom suit. I generally think from the size of Venom, because he's huge, he can grab Spider-Man by his whole body by the one hand. Like, for that to happen, because the Venom suit only, kind of doubles or triples the size of the Host. So for that to happen, the Host has to be a big guy. So I do think it's going to be the Kingpin, just because he's been in the background for all these games, and he's going to end up being showed up. He's just going to show up as a complete and utter monster by the end of it. I just think that would be so cool. Kingpin of crime goes from the Kingpin of crime to a monster who just leaves a path of destruction throughout the city as Venom. That would be awesome. And like I said, I do honestly think Green Goblin is going to be Norman. I think Harry is going to take more of an MJ role to things, or he's going to get some later for the next game get Green Goblin tech or something like that, or Norman will die as Green Goblin and Harry will become the Hot Goblin or something like that. I don't know. But yeah, the Green Goblin, I just can't wait, because it's either going to be completely monstrous like we've seen, or it's going to be completely tech-based, or a mixture of two, where he's the Green Goblin from, the Ultimate Comics, but he's also got all these tech upgrades and stuff like that. It'll be so awesome. And to end off this video, I'm going to be talking about next, they're going to set up for the next game and slash DLC. Be mainly they haven't announced they're doing proper DLC yet, but I think there's a very, very good chance they will, because they did it with the first one. They didn't do it with Miles Morales, but Miles Morales was more of a getting to know him for this game, really, which was good because now he's got better powers. And yeah, so DLC, I got no idea. They could go anyway. They could bring in Carnage for it, or they could just, I don't know. They could do anything for the DLC. They'll probably got something in the works for it, but but the DLC actually, what I think they do is either, because there's into the Spider-Verse stuff in this as collectibles, but not actually involving the story. It's just a side collectibles. What you do, it's just like, oh, that's neat, that's it, which I like. But yeah, for the next game, I think, because you guys haven't noticed, I like, in case you haven't noticed, there hasn't been a Green Goblin yet, so that means Gwen Stacy hasn't died yet. I'm guessing she hasn't been mentioned. Right, from what I've played and seen all through it, she has not been mentioned at all. And I'm just, so she could end up being set up for the next game, or she could get a Miles Morales shooting where she gets her own game. But who knows? Because Gwen, we might just meet her in this game, and it might actually be connected to Spider-Verse, which I hope Gwen Stacy is actually in this universe and gets her, gets her powers and helps out, And for Spider-Man 3, there's 3 spiders that they have to balance and switch between, because that would be awesome. I think that's what Insomniac's trying to do, because with Spider-Man 1 you got Peter, Spider-Man 2 you got Peter and Miles. Spider-Man 3, I generally think they're going to do Peter, Miles and Gwen Stacy. It would be awesome, but we'll see, because if they did do that, then this game is looking like it's going to be one of the biggest things Peter and Miles will have to go through. But from what I'm thinking of, there's a lot of other Marvel villains and Spider-Man's own villain gallery that they probably still wouldn't have gone into quite yet as well. Even though we've brought up the big ones, there's still other big villains that could just be used for the next game or DLC. So I think it's going to be quite good, and I can't wait for. I really do hope that we get Gwen Stacy in this. Just not as the players, like we did in the first game with Miles. I fucking hated that. It's we already get enough. I hope, mind you, I hope MJ keeps her taser and stuff, so you could just, instead of just stealthing around, just avoiding fights, you can just basically assassinate him by tasing him. It's brilliant. But yeah, I generally hope Gwen Stacy is in it. So yeah, that's going to be it. I love that move. That's going to be it. So yeah, bye.